This is our driving review of the all-new Volvo C40. It comes electric only, is a sister model to the XC40. We'll tell you all about it. Thomas and Autogefuehl, let's go! In the front, the C40 has this closed grille look and the Thor's hammer LED signature. Here, technology-wise, it now comes with a so-called pixel technology that is their new matrix LED headlamp. Interesting. The color is called Fjord Blue, a nice Thomas blue here we like on Autogefuehl. Overall, a very consistent and clean design in the front. The length at 4,43 meters or 174 inches, that's kind of same length and the same wheelbase, just like the XC40. The difference is that the C40 has this SUV coupe shape, so the falling roofline right here, and then this attached small wing. It is a little bit more aerodynamic and therefore a little bit more efficient, but it won't make the biggest effect. Actually, it's a design thing, and it's still somewhat a standalone model because the interior also introduces something new, and this car will only be sold online. The dealers will still play a major role, yes, but the ordering process is online. That's also very interesting. Wheels come from 19 or 20 inch. However, US and UK model will directly start with these ones here, the 20-inch ones. In Germany, for example, we can also get the smaller one. Not sure, do Germans pick smaller wheels in general than the English and the US guys? I know, you tell me. Then we see here contrasting mirror caps and also a contrasting roof. Again, contrast to the Fjord Blue. Once again, a very consistent design here in the side profile, and the acceleration figure also just like the brother model, 408 horsepower, all-wheel drive, so one electric motor in the rear, one in the front, and 4.7 seconds is the acceleration figure to 1 kilometers or 60 miles. The rear, yeah, that's where the Swedish music is playing, right? Because this is really screaming out, so different to the XC40 here, again with the wing, and then also the tail lamps kind of split in this vertical dot style. A technology style, I would say, very modern indeed. I think it does work. I found it quite beautiful, and the thing is, it is unique. That's the most thing people are looking at this. By the way, the rear window and also the rear side windows, you can also get it in a tinted style. That would be an option. And top speed is 180 kilometers an hour or 112 miles an hour. And if you wonder how they came up with this idea here within the segmented light, originally they want to have one piece. Well, then here you have to make one split because of the tailgate. And everybody understands that. But then it's not possible to manufacture it in one piece in this, length and size. So they had to make a cut here. And then they were deciding, okay, then make one strip all the way through, but then you have this gap here. And then they said, okay, if you have one gap here, why not make more gaps here? And then it looks kind of intentionally. Yeah, and then this is what they came up with. And this is here the welcome signature. Battery at 75 kilowatt hours net, so quite reasonable size for this size of a vehicle, indeed. And well, the effective range will then somewhat be like around 400 kilometers, 250 miles. The real range for today, we'll have another range test for you later on about the energy consumption and so on. Then recharging will be 11 kilowatt AC or 125 kilowatt DC, so that will take around 40 minutes to charge from 10 to 80% if you use the full charging power. That's not too quick, but also comparable if you compared to the competitors. Of course, the ones with the 800 volt technology like the Hyundai Ioniq 5 or the Kia V6, they are a little bit better than in this respect. Come to the interior, but first, Autogefuehl door closing sound test. Very solid, that's nice, and also solid interior build quality. You can see here soft touch here, then kind of three-dimensional inserts and a nice blue felt insert here. So that's something different and also fitting to the exterior color. Even blue floor mats, a refreshing change if you see all black interiors indeed. And even more crucial, this steering wheel here is also animal-free. So the complete vehicle, seats and steering wheel and even the gear shifting knob is animal-free, Volvo's first and only so far vegan vehicles. So, and it only comes as that. You cannot order animal skin seats. That's actually a consistent approach. The seats come either with fabric on the inside or here optional with microfiber, and the outside then is a high-grade leatherette. This will soon also be upgraded then to so-called Nordico leatherette, an own production by Volvo then, which is containing natural oil. That's very interesting also to make things even more sustainable. And also, the materials, especially like the ground and the felt and the floor mats, they even use a high recycling share already right now. And to be more specific, specific here. The inside, the microfiber is already now 100% recycling share, and everything which is blue here you can see, so floor mats inside and also the felt inside of the door, this is also 100% recycling share. By the way, if you say, yeah, the blue is too much screaming out for me, you can also just get it in more subtle black. And by the way, also the XC40 electric version is upgraded now to the animal-free interior to make it consistently more sustainable and more animal-friendly. Not the XC40 combustion engine brothers, so both EV versions here, C40 and XC40, are now animal-free. Here, however, the C40 is only available all electric, and steering wheel setup here, up and down, in and out, easily done. And the cool thing is here, for a compact SUV, you sit relatively high. I love that already about the XC40, and the same here for the C40. However, you still have enough headroom left. One means a 6 or 6 with 1. This here, by the way, is a fixed panoramic roof. There is no cover available whatsoever for that. I just bow down to you, to Brian now, who's doing camera today. It looks nice, brings light in, but when you're living in a very, very hot US state, for example, that might be a problem. That's why people are also wrapping their Tesla Model Y, for example, or Tesla Model 3 from the outside. Might be also a thing for the C40 then. Interior overview here with a clean Scandinavian architecture. You have 2 screens, 12.3-inch digital instruments and 9-inch vertical screen as standard. Soft touch dashboard, then again this 3-dimensional, really like different layers printed on here, really interesting. This one here then is a little bit more harder, definitely. A lot of black piano lacquer, that's the only thing I don't like. And to change the temperature, you have to go inside here and then change the temperature. That's not really good. You can also use the voice control. Change temperature to 23 degrees. And since it's Google based or Android based, Android Automotive, this is also no problem.
Changing the temperature to 23 degrees.
There we go. So, and that's the thing about the system, soon more details to that. In the lower part you have the volume knob, that is still manual, gladly, and also a connection for your smartphone, inductive charging pad for example. Apple CarPlay is supposed to come at some stage, by the way. And then here the shifting lever, D, R, that's it. No recuperation mode. Soon more to that decision in the driving part. Adaptive cup holders. And then this middle console is very interesting because here you have, you know, one cubby hole and then armrest and some more space here. Instruments with full screen map here possible, but you can also deactivate it and then have the speedometer. And the only thing that is still bothering here, they are always showing the battery status and you cannot switch it. You cannot choose. Only when it's below 20%, then it shows the kilometer or mile range. Otherwise it stays like this. And their explanation to that is that the kilometer left or the miles range of left, that would be so volatile that it doesn't make sense to display it in the instruments. Yeah, but I don't follow this argument, you know. Yes, it's correct, the battery status will tell you more in a, let's say, accurate way, but still I want an, you know, estimation based on the kilometers I've driven, how much range I have left. Don't you want as well? However, what they do now offer, and the XC40 EV will also get it here in the main screen, you can see you have this range preview with a number. Before that it wasn't possible, and then here you have it, you know, in an even more elaborate way, and also this estimation between minimum and maximum, so at least you have it in the central infotainment system. Infotainment system looks classic Volvo, but the base of it is now Android Automotive by Google, and the thing is they have simplified it, so no swiping left or right, or yeah, there's nothing much here. Basically you have the Google Maps here, and this of course with the, you know, best traffic solution overall. That's really good to have, and also has a great voice input. Hey, drive me to Brussels. So we're in Belgium today. Drive me
Navigating to Brazza.
To Brazza. Maybe it's my language or something. That's obviously also a town in Belgium, but let's try it again. Maybe I'm speaking Chinese. Drive me to Brussels. There we go.
Navigating to Brussels.
Thank you so much. So that works. Of course, in your own native tongue, it always works even better. So, and I mean, it's just great to have that in the vehicle. So next to the Tesla system here, the Polestar and Volvo system are just the best. The XC40 EV has it, and they're rolling this one out also to the V60, S60 models and also V90, S90. The XC90, however, will not get it because it will come in the all-new generation very soon. And here, phone connection, again, Apple CarPlay will be possible at a later stage, as I said. And Android Auto they will not offer because they say then, yeah, you know, it's an Android system anyway, and then you already have this integration. And they could keep it really rather simple. They have a little more application like these. We have car status once again here, or the range assistant, where you can also, you know, check the consumption figure here once again. This is also a realistic consumption figure, by the way. And then the camera system right there, all the way around. And then you can also click individual cameras for the rear view camera, for example. Here is the steering wheel heating and also the seat heating. So everything kind of simplified, and I think it's the way to go. Why spend billions of dollars on a complicated system that is just bad? And what's also very interesting, when you set a longer route here, for example, from Ghent to Berlin, then you basically have two options. You either can directly hop to start, and then the GPS will continue, and when the battery is nearly empty, it will suggest a stopover, but not in an intelligent way. Here, the second possibility, when you here already put at a charging stop, then this is then the intelligent calculation. He already suggests stopovers with the charging and so on, and this is then the best time-wise calculation actually. So these are the two ways you can actually set the route to.
Thomas has already given you a very good overview of the infotainment system, but I don't think it can be said enough. It's really great to see manufacturers starting to take seriously the idea that they cannot compete with the tech companies. They need to integrate with them better. So it's really great to see a car being delivered to market that has Android baked into it. And not only that, but a car that will get over-the-air updates. That means that you don't need to worry about taking the car back to the dealer to get the latest and greatest technology in your car. And that matters when you change your standard household tech on a 12-monthly cycle. You don't want to be stuck with the same software in your car in 5 years' time that was designed 5 years previously.
The rear can house also two more tall adults. Here see directly fits with the knees. And the thing is, what about the compromise here? As for the headroom, you know, legroom is no different to the XC40, but here it gets closer than in the XC40, but it directly fits. So close, but works, and also fairly comfortable to sit in here. This was originally not a pure EV platform. That's why we still have a middle tunnel here. You can sit in the middle parts. So yes, 5 tall adults would also work. Headroom is a little bit limited then, but of course not a purpose-built EV. Although this is EV only here because it was derived from that older XC40 platform. And then here, look at that seat heating, or also the USB seat changers here. Yeah, but overall I think you can live very well with that, considering it's not a long vehicle. And here cup holders, adaptive, and once again the build quality is really nice, also from the microfiber again. Everything also solid when you touch and feel anything. These head restraints here, they automatically fold, by the way. When you fold the seats, here we go, and then you just push them up again. Overall, quite happy with the result here.
Regular viewers will know all about this. I've been very, very keen to bring you this for a long time. Thomas is 1m86 or 6'1". I am 1m78 or 5'10".
And he has...
But I have a very long torso and very short legs. And I can't help but wonder every time I say that, if people wonder, does that really mean what I think that means? Because I always say you should compare me at 6'1". Well, in case anyone thinks that that's nonsense, look at this. You can see that somewhat unbelievably, I have the same head height that Thomas does, but, and this is critical, my knees have this much additional room to Thomas's. So there you are, Autogefuehl viewers. You finally can see it's not made up. I really am the same height as Thomas, honestly.
And now the big question is there a Frunk? Yay! There is a Frunk. Here we go. So this would be another option to put your charging cable. So what about the trunk area? Let's open that one here. Interesting. How much compromise is there actually? And you see, it's actually quite okay. The width here is 1 meter or 40 inches. A backpack also fits in a vertical way, like this normally. And here the length is about 90 centimeters or 35 inches. And the height here below the cover is 38 centimeters or yeah, about 15 inches. So actually, okay, not too big of a compromise here. Below that, you can have some space for your charging cables. And you can also have this one here when you don't have these like 1, 2, how much mats did they put in there? Interesting. So if you can use this one here as a splitter, like this, you can also put, you know, something upright here that is being held like this. So overall, I think well usable. And here we go, 67 inches or 170 centimeters. So that's the total length then. And if you would put these floor mats out, then it would be, you know, even going further. Oh, it's actually one, now I get it. It's one very long floor mat that also works when the seats are folded. Interesting. Acceleration. Woo! Well, that was 50 to 100 kilometers an hour, and we see that. Yeah, that works also well on the passengers. Yeah, so always be aware of the G-forces with electric vehicles. Wow, you know, immediate response from these dual motors, so one in the front. Since Teslas, we always say dual motors instead of all-wheel drive, right? Is it all-wheel drive? Technically, yes, right? Without a mechanical link, of course, yeah. So really great acceleration, a lot of fun. And we're starting it here off on the motorway. And we already drove it a little bit further without the heavy acceleration input and so on. And we were landing up predominantly motorway, about 20 kilowatt hours on 100 kilometers. So that's about 32 kilowatt hours on 100 miles. This is more like for motorway. So on motorway, you will end up about then range of 370 kilometers or yeah, some 220, 230 miles. When you drive it predominantly in the city, then you can also reach up 400 kilometers plus or 250 miles plus. So it really depends on the condition and so on how you're using the throttle pedal. This one here, the C40, if you compare it now to the XC40, the thing is that this one is a little bit more aerodynamic because of the form. So theoretically, this is good for the range. However, the bigger effect will indeed be how you're using the car, where and when, temperatures outside, and how you hit the throttle. But basically, this is a little bit better than as for the wind efficiency, as for the aerodynamics. You're feeling very good in here because it is not the biggest vehicle, but you already get a kind of big SUV feeling, you know. So the XC40 before, and the same also counts for the C40, although it's not the biggest one on the exterior, you sit relatively high. Other SUVs in this segment here, you don't sit that high actually. You sit a little bit lower and you feel that it would be a little bit smaller and so on, but here it's actually fine. And when you do lane changes here, for example, the car feels really agile. You have 20-inch wheels or 19-inch wheels. Stay on E40, yes, on the... Interesting. Yeah. Sometimes we can even do mistakes even though we have the Google Maps GPS here. It's the best, of course, as for the traffic and so on, but when you're talking, sometimes you still miss an intersection. So when you change the lanes here, it feels really sporty, but when we have the 20-inch wheels mounted, we sometimes feel some, you know, uneven parts of the road and so on. If you want more comfort, then stick with 19-inch wheels. That would be better because there's no like additional extra suspension available here or so. You just leave it with that. If you compare it to the combustion engine brothers, it's actually a good thing that we have added weight because I feel it makes the suspension a little bit softer. You know, we have experienced that with EVs before, and well, I do have Brian on board here today, and the thing is, we kind of have like this, you know, like this expert argument going on where he does reviews and say like, you know, added weight of the battery in electric vehicles, I feel it's too heavy and so on. And I more say like, I don't feel the added weight. It keeps the center of gravity really low. I feel the added weight, especially in the center of the vehicle, rather makes them sportier. And of course, the question is, who is right? Am I right or is Brian right? Well, I think I'm right? So, yeah, I would like to hear your comments and maybe you can vote on who of all. Brian's not saying a word. Maybe he's...
I was told earlier that I wasn't allowed to address the camera specifically unless there was a camera directed at me. And because of this,
I'm not entirely sure what it is that Thomas wants from me at this point. I have many views, and clearly most of them, you know, are in direct contravention of Thomas's principles. So, you know,
here we go.
If I want to, am I allowed now to address the viewers? Is that permitted?
Yes, but maybe
that's acceptable to you.
But maybe like in a minute, not in 10 minutes.
Ah, see, there we go.
So I mean, because you know, there are people out there who do extremely long car reviews with a super detailed. Not saying that we are one of them.
So what Thomas is failing to take into account is a thing, I don't know, maybe they didn't cover this for you. Physics, it's called. Car design and engineering has been based on the simple principle of reducing weight ever since there was a car. So if you're going to put an extra 450 kilograms, as it is in this vehicle, into a vehicle, you cannot do that without significant consequence. Now, my concern...
Good point. It's a good point. Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah. Is that the wear and tear on the components of the car is significantly increased. Anyone who's ever bought a second-hand car with a tow bar fitted understands that you are running a risk.
Okay, when we have like more weight and maybe like on wear of tires and so on, yeah, that could be. At the same time, I mean, since it's electric, we have the recuperation, so there will be less wear on, you know, on the brakes and so on. You probably will have never to replace the brake disc unless they're gathering rust because they're not used or something. But suspension. Suspension might be a point. I think we gotta address it with some engineers, I guess. Maybe they, you know, there was the thing with plug-in hybrid vehicles and the drivetrain, and then they saw, we make some layers, you know, like harder, more high quality that can also sustain like jumping on suddenly and so on. Yeah, it's a very interesting discussion. So also please join us there in the comments what you think about this. So added weight for these electric vehicles.
Thomas, you even told me once that it was a guiding principle for you that you would never date a girl who weighed more than 100 kilograms because it had too negative of an impact on the fuel efficiency of your car. Your words, Thomas, not mine.
Yeah.
Your words.
Yeah. So we have to resolve that later, I guess. But yeah, definitely join us in the comments for that. I can just say, like, the C40 here, it feels like the XC40. There's not much difference indeed. And the thing is, it feels good. You know, it's just a good. I think it's one of my favorite compact SUVs because, again, this ratio of, you know, exterior length and how it feels on the inside, and it's really agile. The steering input is really precise. There's no dead zone area. At the same time, it's more than comfortable enough. And there's an XC40. So it's a diesel version. Boo! Sorry about that. Yeah, I know them. Yeah, you know. Some might still need diesel, so I'm just kidding, you know. So, yeah, but the thing is, really, this car handles so well. It has such a great acceleration here still, even if we are at speed. Great handling, and, well, the consumption figure, it's not the most efficient EV out there, that's clear. But considering the size of the battery, I would say it's efficient enough. And, yeah, it has one of the best infotainment systems. So, motorway driving, efficiency, and so on. Besides the weight thing, maybe. That's a general thing. So far, very good result once again.
So, welcome to Thomas's driving safety school. Here he shows you how to avoid killing a pedestrian while accelerating through speed at a busy intersection. And look out for the surprised expression on the face.
Woohoo! 0 to 50. Oh, 60. 0 to 50 it was, of course. So that's the acceleration. Then from the get-go, even more amazing, of course, with the electric vehicles. And when you have, you know, these kind of power figures around 400 horsepower. Whew. So, but I think, you know, due to the all-wheel drive, it's kind of like smooth at the same time. It doesn't apply too much pressure on the body, actually. Recuperation, now being here in city traffic, they have tuned this vehicle here on a, let's say, rather harder recuperation. They want this to be one pedal driving. So when I'm here on the throttle, get off it, reducing the speed, stop, 0. And there's no shifting pedal to change the recuperation. There's no switching from D to B mode or something. They just say, like, that's it. So what we're seeing also from Volvo, also with the infotainment system, user interface, they simplify things indeed, reduce to the max, and I think that's a good thing because some options you actually don't need, you know. You just have to get used to it with the harsh recuperation, that you don't lift your throttle too early and also don't put too much G-forces on the passengers that they're going like, all the time and so on. So yeah, I can just repeat it again for like being shuttled in EVs in like 4 or 5 times. I often get sick when I'm being shuttled in EVs, not driving myself, because then maybe the shuttle drivers are driving EVs for the first time. They're accelerating really hard. They're using harsh recalibration once again. So you have to get used to it, especially if you have someone sitting next to you, or even more, think about the kids, Do you want your kids to puke all over the place there in the back? Probably not. So soft with throttle pushing and also when lifting it again, and then everything will be fine. It's just a thing you have to get used to it. So here in the city traffic, in Ghent, Belgium, by the way, so all greetings to all our Belgian friends. It also feels very nicely because it doesn't have the biggest size. And yeah, Brian, I know where you are looking at the moment. Not at the car. I got you, I totally got you. So, and cool thing, I fit very well into the lane. So with bigger vehicles, it might be very comfortable on the motorway, but then not that comfortable drive inside the city. This is a vehicle that kind of fits it all. It's comfortable enough for motorway driving, it's small enough for the city, and also really silent. We heard it at the motorway. The noise insulation is very good. Then you of course have the absolutely silent EV drivetrain, and that also fits to the overall very nice and comfortable experience. So we indeed ended up with about 20 kWh and 1 kilometers. Can just stress that again. When you're driving a little bit fast on the motorway, consumption will be worse. Here in the city traffic, consumption will be better, because then again, when you have areas where you use recuperation, this regenerative braking, you say that 1/3 of the total range of an electric vehicle is the recuperation thing, because you can gain back so much energy. And just recently someone asked me, hey, I'm working at this hill station, at this ski lift, does it make sense for me to buy an electric vehicle? Hell yeah, that's a perfect case, because when you go down again, half of the vehicle is full once again, whereas with the combustion engine, all the energy would be lost actually. Yeah, assistance systems wise, by the way, also everything is tuned in a very nice way here. So we have a blind spot monitor integrated into the side mirrors. We have the adaptive cruise control, which is working really nicely. Then there's no capacitive function with the steering wheel yet, so I have to move it again that it reacts. But everything of that, and it is not a cheap vehicle, not at all, but you basically have everything you need already in there. And so, yeah, that's for me the only pill you have to swallow with this vehicle. It is actually quite expensive. Other than that, it delivers very, very well. And if you want, you can also compare it to the XC40, so this direct brother of this one, or maybe also of the competitors. So the Ioniq 5 would surely one that you should also tune into.